Dear Fabrizio, thank you very much for coming
Thank you for
and
inviting me.
joining.
Thank you.
You are a guitar player, you play a lot of jazz music,
Yeah,
you are also a composer and an educator.
right.
But you also have a link with sculpturing and with painting and drawing.
Yeah, that was my first education
Yeah,
because I started when I was 4 years old.
yeah. And you're born in Palermo in Sicily, and now you live there again after a while.
Yeah,
Well, you have that degree in sculpture from you made that in 2001
yeah.
at the Fine Arts Academy of Palermo. Can you tell me how art entered your life and why you decided to study art or sculpturing?
Yeah, so I was, as I said before, I started when I was, I think, 4 years old. I was always watching, like, for example, TV or sitting in my room and making like a drawing, just copying the cartoons all day long, or making like them with clay, and it was really fun for me. I guess it comes from my grandfathers, both sides. My father's side was more like into music, and my grandfather from my mom's side is more into drawing, some poetry as well. So I guess that's the main link. And but then music came just when I was 16 years old, because my father used to play some guitars and keyboards. So I don't know, one day I just saw the guitar, just in my father's guitars in like on the couch, and just say, okay, today I want to play. just and then since then I started to play like every day. Became really curious, and at the time I was like drawing guitar players. So I think it was funny to remember. I was like, and so then I stopped, of course, like drawing. I started to play, but yeah, it was kind of strange because it was not. I didn't know. I had really fun to play music, but I didn't see myself as a musician. So I thought, okay, I continued to study art. So I went to the artistic high school, like for art, and from there, then I continued to the Fine Arts Academy in Palermo, and so I did like mainly sculpture. And but at the same time I always had my music in my mind, so I was like playing, and when I finished like sculpturing, the sculpture was going back home and practicing guitar, and then I had already some gigs, so it's I had this kind of double artistic life, but I never really combined the two things. Well, the main reason why I continue with music, it's because I felt to be more creative. I could express myself more. While with the sculpture and the drawing, I was just reproducing things, and it was nice. It was relaxing. It was like, I think it was a healthy thing to do anyway. But I felt like stuck. And music, I was already like composing my little songs, and just so it was pretty much that. Yeah.
Can you also tell me how it happened that art became a serious partner in your professional life? Because even now you are using drawings like digital paintings during the show, and you also have covers of CDs or albums that are also having drawings from your hand.
Well, yeah, the drawing thing is the last. I mean, like art that I do. It's very new. It's like maybe it's like 1 year that I do that, even less. Because I just found this nice app to draw on iPad. It's called Sketches, and it's really easy So while I was living in London, you know, like there you travel a lot, so I didn't want to just waste time. And I thought I had this pad and I was like, drawing a lot, just improvising. And I noticed that it was difficult for me because it's not like using a pencil or, you know, like or a brush or something. So this limitation made me more thinking to improvise, like trying to use kind of or a certain amount of randomness where I like interact with. So basically, I just think musically when I draw. Like I just draw one line. For me, it's like a melodic line. Then I use the color, like it's like the harmony behind it. I don't know. I just trying to think musically instead. Before when I start to do, you know, sculpture and drawing, and just was reproducing stuff. So for me, it's like it's in a way it's nice because now that I experienced music and art, I feel more like that I can combine the two things naturally, more spontaneously. So and it's nice. I'm trying to develop this kind of vocabulary of signs and colors, but imagine to improvise like a piece of music or just improv art or
Yeah.
It's,
Well, you are as a visual artist and a drawer, especially inspired also through art, but also through philosophy, languages, and cultures. I saw you are inspired especially by the artwork of Paul Klee, the German-Swiss drawer and painter, who also was teaching at the Bauhaus beginning of the last century. And he had a connection with Wassily Kandinsky, also.
All that movement.
Yeah. And but for him, the line was the most important of having. For him, a line was the drawing, and drawing for him was life.
Exactly.
Yeah. How is this for you when you draw?
Yeah, that's exactly the point. The line when I see, for example, a big thick like black line. For me, it's like a really interesting melody. You know, it's like don't wanna say bad or good. It's more like it has some character. You know, like some really good character, and that's why I'm more interested right now. Already some years ago. On Ego in Chile, also the Clint friend, you know. So I'm more interested in expressionism than, you know, like this. I mean, this painter specifically, because he used the line in a really strong way, and also the way how he used the color somehow, and how he combines this strong lines with the color underneath. It's like makes me feel like melody and harmony expressed in a really strong way, and still can be elegant, you know. And
when it comes to inspiration, like philosophy, language, and other cultures, can you explain that a little bit? What this means for you?
The philosophy helped me a lot to understand how certain painters or certain musicians use their approach, or at least that's how I like to perceive some ideas. You know, like when I read some whatever. So there's like many like methods for guitar, for example, some educational books, whatever, and I like to see how each teacher can talk about major scale in a different way, for example. That's for me is very interesting. And the same thing when I listen to music or when I practice something or observe a painting, I like to see the main concept or whatever concept is behind that. And it's part maybe of the creation process that they use. And that's of course how that's how I perceive this concept. Maybe they don't have any different concept. Well, maybe they have, but anyway. But yeah. it's interesting to see for me to see those things. That's how I perceive things sometimes.
And how about the cultures and languages?
Yeah, that's kind of more unconscious, I guess. It's because I used to, maybe because I coming from a small place in Sicily. I mean, I lived for many years in Palermo, but still, it's Sicily is an island, and somehow when I left for the first time the north of Italy, I already discovered more things, and I didn't travel much when I was younger. So when I started to travel, and after Torino, when I was in Italy, in Turin, I stayed there 2 years. Then I decided, okay, I just came to Groningen to study. And from that period on, I started to learn a lot and to see things differently. And it was a really interesting process for me, like to grow as a human being, of course, first of all, to see that people, people think differently. Think, well, there are many cultures that think differently than me. Sounds obvious, of course, but I really live in a place where there are many contradictions, and so really opened my mind to go abroad, and even the music was really influenced by those people around me. For example, in London, I have good memories of Bulgarian friends, for example, and I composed a piece that really reflect that influence on me. And this is, I think, one example. After I came back to Sicily in 2008, when I finished, just graduated in Groningen, and spent eight years there. But somehow I still felt the need to get in touch, be influenced from people, So I continued to travel and do some small tour around Lithuania with other friends, musicians. I mean, that's why it was really nice to be here in Groningen, and it was a really good chance for me to meet a lot of great people and great musicians as well. Yeah.
Well, yes, let's come then back to your study period at the Prince Claus Conservatorium here in Groningen, where you studied jazz guitar. Mm-hmm. I saw some names on your website: Anton Goudsmit, Ralph Tauner, Timuçin Sahin, the guitar player from Turkey, and Kurt Rosenwinkel. Yeah. Can you tell me why you came to study here at the Prince Claus Conservatorium in Groningen? And because maybe it's also included this program that attracted you, New York Comes to Groningen, with the New York teachers inside. Mm-hmm. And can you also tell me what you especially learned here, what you still use today? So what was really helpful for you to get there? And if you have any ideas somehow, what teachers really impressed you their way? Did you have special mentors there? What you learned? Just some stories, please.
Sure. Yeah.
Some memories.
Yeah. Really. I have so many memories. I mean, first of all, was really the reason why I came to the school was because I had some friends that just came here like 1 or 2 years before me. So, and they told me about the school. I was living in Turin at that time, and they told me, okay, why don't you come to the school? This is great. There is this program about. They describe me the whole scene, and I was like, okay, I'm just so. After 2 months, I just left, and I tried to do the admission, and worked out quite good. I mean, I remember it was actually a really sunny day in May. I think it was 27th of May. Well, I never remember things. Rarely remember things and numbers, but this was a nice day. And so I think Anton Goudsmit was one of the first teachers that I met, and also Winfred Buma. Those were my two teachers, and they're really good memories of I mean, with Winfred was like really nice and methodic. I really learned a lot of stuff because for me it was the first, let's say, first time that I studied jazz in a more like structured way with a program, and because I was like just took some few lessons in Sicily. And with Anton was great. It was like it was really like encouraged me. It was encouraged me to follow, you know, like my own path already, and it was inspiring to see how he was playing and the things he was doing. I remember he just came to my gig one day in the Spiegel, and it was nice to have that support, because I wasn't play so many gigs, so I was still like a bit shy to play, and yeah, it was nice. And also, well, I had so many great teachers here in the school, also from from New York, and was a huge experience. It was overwhelming as well, because I remember my English was not really it was really good. Still learning English actually. Was really interesting. So I had some. What else I can say? Good stories like about. I remember like playing with my own project here, and it's called Click Quartet, and I start to really focus on composing, and so I started to compose like the previous some original pieces with different influences. I think it was. Yeah, I was thinking about the Klee concept of trying to take elements from many cultures, and well, with Klee I think it was more like not really related to the drawing itself. It was more like I remember there was a sentence he wrote in a book. It was basically saying like it was really mainly about the creation process. It was saying that some few words like that we should, when we create, we should take get some inspiration from the tradition, but we cannot reproduce the tradition as it is. And they took the example from how the tree grows and develops. Was saying that the roots are not, they looks different than the leaves, even if they are part of the same body and the same they comes from, so the leaves are different, but it comes from the roots. They look different, but I really like to see this explanation when he was talking about the creative process. So, and this concept really accompanied me to compose and to approach to the music later. Am I going too much out of the your question?
Yeah,
it's difficult to keep track of it. So there's so many memories that comes sometimes in mind. And
but when you think about that period, what teachers you had a good relationship with, that really gave you something special, what you still remember was still good to have it?
Yeah, it's strange because I remember I learned really a lot, but since it was, as I say, my first experience, I think I was not really emotionally really balanced to control these things. Now that it was like more than 10 years ago now. Now I can see things from far. I can start to analyze the situation much better. So I think it was not really easy to deal with me at the time as a student. But I think they know that they saw that I was like trying to get through all these, trying to follow the lessons with the language, trying to learn new skills, and trying to, was really challenging. So now I can say that I still like lots of material from the conservatory that I can like still study from, for years, like I got a lot of information that they're still absorbing, and so it was, in the end, it was really important experience, and really positive memories about the whole thing. It was an everyday learning, because we had like master class on Monday, like theory class on Tuesday, for example, and I mean each day was always some, we need to prepare something, to do always something. So yeah, that's how you, I guess you learn. So
Okay.
That was
Well, in 2007, you went to New York for 3 months. How was your experience there? Can you share also some stories from there? I saw that you studied with Ben Monder, Lage Lund, and Adam Rogers, for example.
Yeah.
How was that to go there for you? How did you feel the vibration there? How was that food for you in New York?
I just wanted
The big pizza, New York.
Honestly, I wanted to just escape after 1 month. No, it was really the first time that I saw a really big, huge city, and I had my first panic attack. Not joking, it was seriously like that. I couldn't find a way back home, but then I found it. Beside that, it was great to see the skyscraper for the first time above my head. It was like, wow, felt like really a small man. Was like, I felt to be like in a city for giants. It was nice to meet some of my favorite musicians, and mainly I went there for study, so it was just focused on that. Went to many concerts, and I think that's really good vibe. Really, there's a really special energy there that I compare to. I remember when I just came back after 3 months to Palermo. I still had that adrenaline in my body. I remember also I was practicing a lot back then in New York, without even thinking about, okay, let's schedule this, let's practice that, like it's an energy that brings you like completely, and you just fall. It's like you are in this train, you just go by yourself. But it's difficult because there are a lot of up and down. The city is really tough, and mainly at least for me, it was like, I always used to live in a small city, and I like to live in the countryside, so it's really I found myself really not in the right place, but artistically was the best place. So it was a weird experience, but really important to be there and to see what's happening.
As an Italian, I think you are Italian, even you were born in Palermo on Sicily.
Yeah.
Well, you are a part of a melting pot of all kind of cultures that are happening there in Sicily for a long time. Can you explain me how your life looks like today in Palermo? Because you came back from London now this year. And how much do cultures color you as a person and your art today there?
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of things change in me. My point of view changed a lot, and I feel happy to be back, because it's not like escaping from London or some other place. It's like there are many reasons that are connected together in a really like natural puzzle. That all these reasons came to me like a small puzzle. And so when I came back, of course, I already was teaching in Potenza at the conservatory, just guitar at the conservatory of Potenza. So I was traveling. I mean, this year, like from January 2018 till June, I used to travel like every 2 weeks. So it was quite tough for me, like to do this and trying to work as well in London. Then I saw also that it's a good period for Palermo nowadays, because it became like a city of culture 2018. So a lot of things are happening right now, and it's nice to walk and to stay there. And when I left Palermo in 2014, it was really a bad energy there. Or I couldn't really stay. It was really dark periods, I would say. And but now I see also lately that the city is more, it brought this energy again back to the people. I mean, it's like I see that a lot of things more culturally are happening. There is a new jazz club there, where I perform often with other musicians, so that makes the community more, as a whole. And so I change a lot of things. I mean, I felt mainly that this need to go back to more quiet quality life, I would say, like, because London is a big city and you travel a lot, and so I just want to still be active. That's what I want to do now, is stay really active and travel a lot, but mainly for living. I just really discovered that I love to live in Sicily, and that's my natural environment, and it's a special island with a really strong energy, beside all problems that we have, but I really feel like that's with my body resonates somehow.
Okay.
There, yeah.
Of course, you're Italian, but can you tell me, did you become more a European Italian, or are you still an Italian? So how much Italian are you?
Well, I think I always. In general, what happens, I think that I discover myself even more Italian every time I confront myself with other places, and that's not always good. It's not, you see the good things, but you see things also that makes you think. It's like, oh, okay, so maybe that's not here in this country. This doesn't really work. I need to, think about that, and it's always about learning. So I feel just to learn. I like to think that I'm not only Italian. I like to think that I'm part of this, this big whole, existence. Now we go back to the philosophical. I think it's really important to learn on a daily basis and to travel as much as we can, and that's really.
Yeah.